Devin Haney says he'll stay at 135 for Gervonta Davis or Shakur Stevenson. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, Devin Haney recently voiced his opinion on whether he will be staying at lightweight, 135 pounds, or moving to 140 for the remainder of his career. When and why that will happen, and who will be his next opponent. And I just want to give my 2 cents on that and break that down really quickly. So, Devin Haney recently spoke about his wishes to remain or leave the division. And me personally, I think it's going to be based off of his performance in the Vasily Lomachenko fight. I think it could go a few ways with this. Number one, I think if Devin Haney dominates Vasily Lomachenko, he's more than likely going to stay and give Gervonta Davis or Shakur Stevenson a shot. Now, I've said in the past that I felt like he would not fight Gervonta at 135, and I still feel the same way. I don't think it's going to happen. I think more than likely, even if he does dominate Vasily Lomachenko in their upcoming fight, they fight here in May, I think he will more than likely give Shakur Stevenson a shot at the titles and not Gervonta Davis, because he's having trouble making the weight. He recently said that he was tired of making 135 pounds. His body has outgrown the division. He's been campaigning there since he was like 16 years old at lightweight. And he's ready to move on to bigger and better things. And I think because his power, this is the real reason, his power is not carrying anymore at 135 pounds. He can't get that pop on his shot anymore. You know, and it's really that his body has grown. His body's outgrown the division. And as he loses weight, he's losing power on his shots. He's losing muscle mass. And he's not feeling good making that weight anymore. So I think it would be dangerous for Devin Haney to try to take on a puncher like Gervonta Davis, knowing your power is not carrying anymore at 135 pounds. Now, that doesn't mean he wouldn't give Shakur Stevens a shot. Shakur Stevens, the new guy to 135, not really tested at 135. You know, I feel like both of those guys have about the same size name when it comes to the sport of boxing. Even though Shakur Stevens, you know, he's the up-and-coming guy. Devin Haney's the champion. You would think he has a bigger name. But as far as fan bases go, I would say they carry about the same size fan base. Shakur doesn't have as much of a pop on his punch as Gervonta Davis does. So I would feel like if anybody was going to get the title shot out of those two guys, it would more than likely be Shakur. Now, if Devin Haney was to knock Vasily Lomachenko out, I think that would change things a little bit. I don't think he's going to knock Vasily out, but I do think it's going to be a decent enough fight. I think if it's a decent enough fight to where Devin Haney's looked at as dominating the fight, not just dominating on the scorecards, but really putting a pounding on Vasily, maybe even knocking him down or knocking him out, it would change the whole scenario. I think then you would see him possibly give Gervonta Davis a shot at the titles. But once again, I think that if his punch is not carrying at 135 pounds, that's a long shot, and you would more than likely see him give that shot to Shakur Stevens.
You're my brother, you're my brother, you're my brother, Dance. You're the only one for me. You're my brother, you're my brother, you're my brother. You're the only one for me. We tend to say things that we don't really mean. like I hate you, and I hope you die tomorrow. Some death and disease, I never meant a word of it. I was speaking out of anger. At time, I treated you as if you was a stranger.
Now, there is another scenario in there that I'll speak about here in just a second. There's some up-and-coming fighters, Frank Martin, a few other names that are out there that Devin Haney could possibly take on other than Gervonta or Shakur Stevenson, but I doubt he would take on those newcomers because it would be just as dangerous as him fighting Gervonta Davis. One of those newcomers might beat him and ruin his whole reputation as, you know, an undefeated fighter. And I don't think he would want that. I think if you was to lose to anybody, you would want to lose to Gervonta because at least you lost to the elite of the elite guys and not some guy who's on the come up. Now, there's another scenario in there that could possibly play out. Now, once again, this is all if he dominates Vasily Lomachenko. Now, if he just beats Vasily on a 12 round, you know, just like he's normally been doing, you know, 12 round domination, but very boring fight, and it was just his size that overwhelmed Vasily, I think you're going to see him immediately, you know, move to 140. But there is another scenario in there, and that would be for him to fight Gervonta Davis, hold the titles, but fight Davis at a catch weight. Now, that's a very, very big possibility because we've seen Gervonta Davis fight everybody at a catch weight. So, you know, I think Devin Haney, to hold on to his titles and not have to put the titles on the line versus Gervonta Davis, he would more than likely offer Davis a fight, but the titles won't be on the line. It'll be somewhere in between 135 and 140 catch weight. And we could get that Gervonta Haney fight, but the titles won't be on the line. Now, I would say that's more than likely, and if he fought Shakur, the titles would be on the line because it would bring more of a crowd in for that fight. And I would think that Shakur Stevenson would be the underdog. And if Gervonta and Devin get it on, there's going to be a whole big mess anyway with the A-side, B-side situation. Gervonta would be bringing in the fan base, and Devin Haney has all the belts. So how you go about making that fight without there being a serious A-side, B-side argument would be to have it at a catch weight. Devin Haney would be the B-side, and the titles would not be on the line. And I think the fight would easily be made, and it would actually, I think, give Devin Haney a little more confidence in winning because it won't be at 135 pounds. It'll probably be at like 137, 138, somewhere in between 140 and 135. And I think it would please Devin. They don't have to fight at 135, and the titles don't have to be on the line, so there's no A-side, B-side argument. And it would most likely please Gervonta as well because at least he gets that name on his resume, especially if he beats him. Not only that, then it would be in between 135 and 140, so he could put a rehydration clause in there as well. So I think both sides would have things that they could agree upon with a catchweight fight where if the titles are on the line, there's going to be a huge argument on both sides about the A-side, B-side situation. So you could say that the Gervonta Devin Haney fight is a real possibility if Devin Haney has a good showing versus Vasily Lomachenko, and if those titles are not on the line. But if he doesn't have a great showing versus Vasily and he sticks around 135 for one more fight, it's more than likely going to be Shakur Stevenson, and I think the fans are going to eat Devin Haney alive for ducking Gervonta Davis. And what does Davis do after all that? At that point, what does Davis do? Because the only fights left would be like Frank Martin and a bunch of up-and-coming fighters, and maybe Shakur Stevenson if Shakur Stevenson doesn't move to 140. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's YouTube, that's Twitter. But you are more than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, feel free to hit my Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are
Here we go. Hey yo, brand new money. What you know about it? Niggas wanna claim they bout it, I doubt it. Got your house surrounded, you don't wanna come about it. It's lonely at the top, but at the bottom it's crowded. A nigga ain't eating a week, yet and still got a pocket full of bread, then he's probably a beast. If you eating every day of the week, but you ain't got $1 to your name, then you probably a leech. Preach, thank the Most Highs for making me most fly. It's okay, wash on the fat boy died. I know you got something on your mind, don't try it. I got something in the rides in your head, bone blind for sure. Let me see you go, let me see you go, get it. Let me see you go, let me see you go, get it. You know I stack it, don't spend it, own it, don't rent it. Wait a damn minute, I'ma show them how to get it. Come on, let me see you go, let me see you go, get it. Let me see you go, let me see you go, get it. Let me see you go, let me see you go, get it. Let me see you go, let me see you go, hey yo, you can hear the cop sirens and the shots firing. Niggas looking for jobs, but they not hiring. You gotta take it all in your own hands. What you on, bruh? I got my own plans. Get my own land, please move along, man. If you can't respect the fact that I'm a grown man, and I ain't playing, going hard in the paint for my niggas that wanna go hard, but they can't. Sick with the freestyle, call them the Green Mile. Getting money for blocks, what y'all think about me now? Gotta keep my head in the clouds, daddy like gotta make me proud. Y'all on it, pay me later, gotta get that money now. Y'all on it funny style, running round, talking shit, tossing chicks. End up with that faucet drip, off to get smooth like a player. I move like I'm greater, I bust your mouth, leave you like you chewed a tomato. Now show a little something, drop a little bread. Our courage is green, y'all copper instead. I'm knocking your head right off of your neck. Holla at that drove man, tryna see if he's on deck. Now show some respect and throw up your set. If somebody's sicker, I don't know him yet. You know it's the S. They showing their chest, we blowing the best. It's Louis Keys.